Good morning. I think we have some members still coming in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're glad to have you here with us today. I had a couple of things just to remind you that this meeting falls under the Open Meetings Act, so please keep your cameras on during the meeting. And also, if you would make sure that your actual name, your name is showing instead of your phone number so that everyone can identify who's talking. That would be most helpful. And now I'll turn it over to the commissioner. Good morning, Dr. Fletcher.
Good morning, Ms. Turner, and welcome to all of our students today. I'm going to start off with a little bit of an overview of their agenda, and then after I'm finished with the overview, I'll turn it over to Rosalind for roll call, but we will open with some announcements, and I am very thankful. I'll have several announcements on acknowledging the accomplishments of many of our educators across the state. Also, I'll talk about two announcements from the governor, and we're so thankful that for his leadership from the governor's office. And then also I'll close with some exciting news from KDE. So after those announcements and that time, we'll turn it over to Michelle Searcy, who's our program coordinator for comprehensive school counseling for the Mindful Minute. And I look forward to that minute every single meeting. I think it helps me to refocus and recenter. So thank you to Dr. Searcy for that. Next, we'll have from the Kentucky Board of Education, we'll talk a little bit with Dr. Jones. We'll be talking with you about our non-voting student member applications for our Kentucky Board of Education. We do have Harper on here, so Harper may be able to even shed a little light on what her views are about that open position. The position will come open in July 1, and there's a certain congressional district that will tell you in which counties that impact and who's available for the next year. So, or what counties will be available for the next year. And then we'll move on to our transitioning to post-secondary and student advisory council project. And I'll be honest, I've already started talking to legislators that this group is talking about the IOP and what that transitioning to post-secondary project would look like. Very excited about this portion and the work. And I want to thank Karen Dodge, Sharon Collins, also Mitzi Holland, Michelle Searcy, Jessica Fletcher, Trey Pippin for their work in helping to lead, I should say, facilitate that part of our meeting. And then we'll close with our next meeting and adjournment from Rosalind, and she'll be sure to get us set before the next meeting. So at this time, before I do the announcements, let's turn it over for Rosalind for a roll call, please.
Okay, here we go. Teje Basneth, and I think he was not going to be here today. Harper is here with us. Graham Borden.
Here.
Okay. Savannah Brock. Is Savannah here? Delaney Crump.
Here.
Lillian Darr could not be with us today. Vivian Fox.
Here.
Manus Garla.
Here.
Patrick Grobovy.
Here.
Preston Graham.
Here.
Sophie Johnstone.
Here.
Charlie Kincaid.
Here.
Abigail Ladvey.
Here.
Sophia Langford. Gabriella McAdams.
Here.
Hadley Nicholas.
Here.
Lacey Page.
Here.
Tara Roshekesh. Daniel Ratley.
Here.
Luisa Sanchez. Risha Shaw.
Here.
Ali Mendina. Eric Vidito. Okay, did we get everyone? Did I miss anyone?
I don't think Seth came through on there, but I think
Oh,
she's on, that they're on here. Seth,
yes,
you're here, correct? Yes.
yes. Good morning, Seth. I thought you were here. Um,
And Savannah Brock is here.
and Savannah Brock, I was just going to say, and we have a new member, Savannah Brock. And I was wondering if she would like to share a little bit about herself. Savannah replaces Annie and she is a junior at KSD. Savannah, would you like to tell the members a little bit about yourself?
No, thank you.
Okay. Well, welcome. We're glad you're with us. Thank you. I do know that she is very active in various activities at school, and I think she will be a good contributing member to the council. And with that being said, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Fletcher.
Well, to say that Savannah is active at her school may be an understatement. It seems like every committee and every opportunity. I think even the academic team. I think Savannah, you're a part of that also too. So, so congratulations and thank you for stepping in to be a part of this. So we're so glad to have you. I'm going to start with.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Going to start with some announcements about some of our teachers, and I'll first start off with Michelle Gross, and she is a middle school teacher at Spencer County Middle. Actually got to hear Miss Gross speak again yesterday at our National Board Certified teacher ceremony. She does a phenomenal job. She represents the Commonwealth so well. She is not only the Kentucky Teacher of the Year, but she is our first finalist for the National Teacher of the Year. And this group is, or this program is overseen by the Council of Chief State School Officers. So that announcement for who's the National Teacher of the Year will be coming soon. And so we're very hopeful that she will get in as the National Teacher of the Year. But she is our first finalist, if I recall correctly. She has 22 years of teaching experience there in Spencer County. She teaches 7th grade math. Math teachers are near and dear to my heart. I used to be a math teacher once upon a time in the glory days, back when we parked the dinosaurs out back. I tell people that was a few years ago. And she also teaches a gifted and talented class called the Academy, where she's able to dig in deeper into some projects. One of her biggest projects with all of her 7th grade classes is the House-A-Rama, where students design their dream homes, but not only do they design their dream homes, they actually have realtors, architects, and others come in and work with students and ask them questions about, what is the efficiency of their house and what does it look like? They also build 3D models and present those. So again, there's so many things that go on, and we wish her the absolute best in the National Teacher of the Year competition, which will be announced this spring. Next slide, please. I think this is a picture that's worth 1,000 words. I was blessed to be at Taylor County when Miss Sydney Newton was named as the Milken National, as one of the National Educator Awards from the Milken Foundation. And yes, it is a $25,000 award that's given to the teacher, and it's unrestricted. This is not something where they have to spend money in their classrooms. This is for them personally, and she was awarded this at a ceremony there in Taylor County. And this look of surprise is genuine. My favorite is the young lady in the top left. She's lost it really when it was announced. So I asked Miss Newton, and really what the school system does, they put on a show and they say the commissioner's there to celebrate the great things of the school. So the commissioner and also Lieutenant Governor and others come and to be a part of the award. And so we start off talking about the great things about the school, and then we get into the Milken Foundation. And then we talk about it's going to be for a particular teacher. So I asked Miss Newton, I said, did she have a clue that was her? And her words were this. She said, there are so many great teachers here. And it was going through my mind, I wonder who's going to get this. So when it was announced, her name was announced, it was absolutely surprised. And you can see it here. But in talking with the students, it was absolutely well-deserved. So congratulations to Sydney Newton there in Taylor County for the award. And we wish our teachers the best. We've had several of these over the years and looking forward to the next one as we go through. Next slide, please. We also have 3 educators that were honored as the 2025 Kentucky Exemplary Educators Program Award winners, or KEEP. And those 3 award winners are Robin Ballinger, who is a special education teacher at Chenoweth Elementary there in Jefferson County. Charlotte Holtzclaw, who's a science teacher at Robert B. Turner Elementary School in Anderson County. And Mark Webster, who's a principal of the Bluegrass Middle School in Hardin County. The candidates for these are early to mid-career professionals with at least 5 years of experience and whose contributions to education are largely unheralded, yet worthy of spotlight. So again, more and more educators, and I'm not finished yet. So next one, please. We were the KYCEC, the Teacher of the Year was announced recently. Jessica Ewart of Meade County was named as the 2025 Special Education Teacher of the Year. And it celebrates special education teachers who go above and beyond in providing direct services to children and youth with exceptionalities, demonstrating excellence in supporting students with disabilities. So congratulations to Ms. Ewart. She is an outstanding special educator and that we are happy to celebrate with, and we wish her the best, and congratulations to Ms. Ewart and to all those in Meade County. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Our next one that we want to celebrate is Miss Huey Couch of Jefferson County. She receives another National Teaching Award, and this is she teaches 9th grade algebra at Newcomer Academy of Jefferson County, and she knew her calling after being inspired by her mother, whom she describes as a very successful leader and teacher. Yesterday in our National Board Certified Teachers ceremony, I asked teachers to name the person that made the biggest impact in their lives and the teacher. And it's so special when you're able, as a teacher, you're able to say, my mom or my dad also impacted me as a teacher. In her own words, she witnessed her mother's commitment to her students, caring for them as if they were her own, which she said instilled a sense of service and desire to make a positive impact on her students' lives. And I would bet that many of you on this meeting today, if I were to ask you who's your favorite teacher, who's made the biggest impact, it may not be the teacher that has maybe the highest amount of content knowledge, but it's more than likely the one that took the time to build a relationship with you, to take interest in you, maybe even to tap you into doing something special within your in the classroom, or maybe even being a part of this group here. So again, as we get to celebrate with those educators, we're so thankful for each one, and not only these educators that were named, but so many that are phenomenal throughout the Commonwealth. Next slide, please. This is also part of the slide deck, but I'll go on to the next one. Next slide, please. I want to thank Governor Beshear. Governor Beshear has always been a huge proponent of public education, and he signed 2 proclamations this month. The very first one was a proclamation as February is Gifted and Talented Month, and also had Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman was there. We were there at the Capitol Education Building for this award. I was so thankful to get to talk to the students that are there. So again, it was a great day. And again, Gifted Education Month is a time to celebrate more than 90,000 gifted and talented students across Kentucky, as well as the dedicated educators who teach them. Gifted education is an important part of helping students develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills that will prepare them for future careers. So we're so thankful for the Gifted Education Month recognized by Governor Beshear, and thankful for Lieutenant Governor for being there as part of this proclamation. We also had another proclamation. Next slide, please. The governor also signed naming February as Career and Technical Education Month. So again, a big education month for us here. And he did this during a Team KDE meeting. I'm sorry, Team Kentucky meeting, not Team KDE. I'm sorry. We had students that were there from across the Commonwealth. We had welders, we had business people, we had a lot of students there that were part of the career technical fields. But now also too, as part of this month, Career and Technical Education offers students the opportunity to pursue post-secondary opportunities, include dual credit options and industry certifications, while they're experiencing engaging, vibrant learning experiences in professional workplace settings alongside the traditional school curriculum. For those of you that may be taking part in career and technical classes, I think this gives you an opportunity to see what you're learning and how it applies directly into a career. And that can be a wide range of careers, from health careers to welding, to carpentry, to so many things in between. So I think this is a great opportunity for us, and I want to thank the governor again. We do have more than 120 state-approved career pathways and 13 CTE programs. And during last year, we had 145,000 Kentucky high school students participate in a CTE pathway. Considering we have about 630,000 students, to actually have this amount in a career pathway to participate is phenomenal. They earned more than 16,000 industry certifications. And again, this is a big trend that's been growing throughout Kentucky for a long time. Next slide, please. All in for Ag Week. We have two more. I'll have two more announcements and then we'll move on. But the All in for Ag Week for this semester is scheduled for March 16th through the 20th. I'd like to thank Commissioner Shell from the Department of Agriculture, and also Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman, who always participate in the All in for Ag Week and really work together to bring a focus on agriculture and all the opportunities that we have in the state. We have technology, we have economics, we have, it's not just how did the commissioner, I think he said it's not just plows and sows, but it's also the technology, the agriculture, the economics. There's so many things that wrap into agriculture. And that's one of the things that we want to make students aware of in our All In for Ag Week, is there's a lot of different opportunities when it comes to agriculture. And our economy here in Kentucky really depends on it. There were also, as a part of this, we have new lesson plans and resources and curriculum ideas have been developed here at KDE and also with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture to have the Kentucky academic standards across all subjects. This year's event will feature more field trips and labs for elementary school students, along with more professional development opportunities for educators this summer. So again, we will have the spring All In for Ag from March 16th through the 20th. And then we're going to have another All In for Ag Week, September 21st through the 25th. Next slide, please. And let's move on to one more slide. Next slide, please. This is something, if you haven't had the opportunity, you haven't seen this, KDE, and I want to thank our comms team, Jennifer Ginn and Miles and so many others in our comms team that work on this new video series where we're highlighting local assessment and accountability. The very first one was from Shelby County. It was an impressive video, and we're working on another one from Rockcastle County to talk about the impact of local accountability within a school system. Our first series, again, I think you can find the Shelby County one on our website, and hopefully within the next couple to 3 weeks, we'll have another one ready to go. The video does document the work done by KDE, the Kentucky United We Learn Council, and districts across the Commonwealth to explore new ways of incorporating vibrant learning experiences, something this group has talked about a lot, into the classroom while emphasizing collaboration with the community and innovation on how we approach assessments. Again, you can see these videos on our YouTube page, and the link is there in the PowerPoint. So I'll stop there, and I'll open up for maybe any questions. If there are any questions for me from our advisory council along these lines, or anything you'd like to ask. Using my wait time as a former calculus teacher. Well, there was a lot of awkward wait time in my calculus class. Okay, seeing no hands, I will turn it back over to Rosalind to get us moving throughout our agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Fletcher. And now we're going to turn it over to Dr. Michelle Searcy, who is going to provide us with the mindfulness and well-being, or we'd like to call it a mindful minute.
Thank you,
Michelle?
Rosalind. Thank you, Rosalind. Good morning, everyone. It is so glad to see you all. This is one of my favorite things that I get to do. And so I appreciate the commissioner always allowing me to have a few minutes to do a mindful minute with you. Before we get started, I do want to introduce Dr. Tucker, who is our deputy commissioner. He is here with us today. Dr. Tucker, would you like to say a word?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Dr. Searcy, it is always a pleasure to speak with you as we go through this mindful minute. And like the commissioner, it's one of the favorite things I get to do next to, again, interacting with our students. And I know our students, I've been able to work with this committee now almost 6 years, and I know many of them understand that they have a unique opportunity to create a very meaningful impact, not only on students back in their home district, but also across the Commonwealth. So we certainly want to thank you for taking advantage of that. But also, we know when we look at leadership, it's also about inspiring others, going back into your home schools, inspiring others, and fostering a collaborative environment that values diverse experiences and perspectives. And so we want to thank you each and every day for modeling that. Later on in the program, as you heard, you'll have an opportunity to really provide your perspectives on how we can improve teaching and learning here in the Commonwealth. Back over to Dr. Searcy.
Thank you, Dr. Tucker. Rosalind, if you can advance to the next slide. All right, welcome back to all of our students. Recap just real quick of our last Mindful Minute. We talked a little bit about how our emotional capacity is like a cup, and we have to be careful because it can become either too full or too empty. So we have to be aware of where we are in that continuum, and take action to make sure that we don't spill over or dry up. And then we also practice a little bit of mindful breathing. Next slide. So just this week, we finished up with the Olympics, and I don't know about you guys, but my husband and I, we love watching the Olympics. We watch it every night. We get very invested in the games, even in activities that we know nothing about. But I wanted to kind of center us around the Olympics since we just finished that. And so we're talking about gratitude and Olympic-sized gratitude. When we know from research that when we focus on what we are grateful for, it instantly helps to improve our mental health. So I want to give you a second to think about who is someone in your life that you would give a gold medal to for supporting you, or who has made the biggest positive impact in your life. I'm going to give you just a second to think about that, and then you can drop those in the chat, or you can come off mute and share those with the group. And like Dr. Fletcher, I have exceptional wait time. Okay, Abby dropped in the chat that her brother is someone that should deserve a gold medal for supporting you. I love that. Siblings are important in our life. My brother is very important in mine as well. Anybody else? Who is someone that has really supported you? My father, my mama, family and teachers, my mom for sure, parents. Oh, I like that. Harper said they would give a gold medal to the librarian, my golf coach, my mom, my parents. Now, here's the kicker, y'all. We're listing who is someone that has really supported you in thinking about gratitude, but we want to take it a step further. Sometime today, reach out to the person that has made a big impact on you and just tell them thank you. Just like, hey, I want you to know that today during our meeting with the school counselors, look at me, I'm switching my advisories. With the student advisory council, we had to say who had made the biggest impact on me. And I said you. That goes a long way. It's important to let those people know that they've made a big difference in our life. And just like it does you good when we practice gratitude, it does them good when they receive a thank you. So sometime throughout today, make sure that you let the folks know that they've made a big impact on you. All right, next slide. We're going to talk a little bit this morning, not long, but just a little bit about the triangle of health. When we think about our overall health and well-being, a lot of times we know about the physical health, making sure that our body is operating the way that it should be. And we know about our mental health, which focuses on our feelings and emotions. But this is not just a two-tiered model. It's a triangle. So we have another component of health that sometimes we forget about, and that's social health. And that talks about our relationships with other people. So if we want a balanced, healthy triangle, we not only have to be mindful of our physical and mental health, but our social health too, and making sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people that are going to lift us up and make us better people. You don't want to be with folks that bring you down or drag you down or get you to do things that you don't necessarily want to do or that goes against your moral compass. But we want to find folks that support us and lift us up and help us to be better people. Next slide. So here we see what a balanced, healthy triangle looks like, and that's where we focus on all three equally: mental, social, and physical. And then you also see to the right an unbalanced, healthy triangle. So when one area is not utilized as much as the other, you kind of get this lopsided, it's not even, it's a lopsided triangle, and it makes us, it affects our overall health and well-being. So to ensure our health triangle doesn't become unbalanced, we need to think about what we do for all three of those areas: mental health, social health, and physical health. So I want to give you a second and do a triangle check with you. You don't have to write it down, but I am going to give you about 60 seconds. If you have a piece of paper and you want to write it there, you don't have to drop it in the chat. But I want you to write down, what do you do for your mental health, social health, and your physical health? And I'm going to pause for about 60 seconds. Okay, let's do a quick triangle check. I know that wasn't a whole lot of time, but hopefully you get the picture and that you can start to see that one side can become a little off balanced. So I want to see if you can drop in the chat, if there is a side that you focus a lot on, drop that in the chat. And then conversely on that, is there a side that you really need to focus on because it's a little off balance? So one of those areas that you're not given enough attention to that can make your triangle off balanced. And you can just drop that in the chat. No worries about unmuting. So the questions are: an area that you focus a lot, that you give a lot of attention to, and is your triangle balanced or unbalanced? So Graham says that he focuses a lot on mental health, but really could need to focus more on social. Patrick, I focus most on social, need intentionally focus more on physical health. Patrick, I am right there with you. Lacey says focus a lot on physical health and social health, but should probably place more emphasis on mental health. So one of the great things about doing this triangle check is that once you're aware, then you can make steps, you can take steps to fix that, to make sure that you have a balanced, healthy triangle. Austin, I give a lot of focus towards my physical side, and I would say I need to focus more on your mental health. So good, that's a perfect segue into our next slide. So we are going to do a technique for your mental health this morning, and it's called progressive muscle relaxation. And if you were here with us last year, we did progressive muscle relaxation last year too. And it's one of my favorite things to do because for me, this is where I can tell that I'm holding a lot of stress. When I hold a lot of stress, instantly my shoulders are up. And if I tell myself, relax my shoulders, I can drop them down instantly and I don't even realize that I've got them tensed up. And that's with a lot of people. When we are stressed, we also a lot of times clench our jaws. If you guys have done that before and at the end of the day, your jaws are really tight or sore, your teeth are sore, that's because you've got your jaws clenched and you're holding tension right there in your face. Another area where you can see that you're stressed is with your hands and your feet. You can actually curl your toes, curl your fingers, and tighten those up really, really tight. And so when you make intentional efforts to release those, then you can kind of feel the stress going out. Just while I was talking to you guys, my shoulders started to go up. And so I had to tell myself to relax them. So we are going to do this technique this morning where it involves intentionally tensing our muscles and then relaxing them to improve our mental well-being. So we are going to, benefits of doing this, as you can see there on the screen, is it reduces stress. It can improve your sleep. You get better emotional regulation, enhances your focus and concentration, gives you a positive impact on your physical health. So if you're one of those that need to focus on physical and mental health, this technique does that. And it's super easy to learn, which is my favorite thing. So we're only going to do a couple of these, but you'll get the picture, and you can see there on the screen all the different parts of your body that you can use to tense and to relax. We are going to start with our jaws. So I want you to tighten your jaws as tight as you can. Really clench down. We're going to hold that for about 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now gradually release that. You can feel what it feels like to have your jaws tensed. You might do this right before a test, or if you're having a fight with a friend or your parents, like you just instantly start clenching your jaws. Try to remember to relax those. The next one we're going to do is our shoulders. This is my favorite because, like I said, this is the one I do the most. So before we do it, I want you to shake out your shoulders a little bit, stretch them just ever so slightly. Okay, now we're going to have you bring your shoulders up to your ears and hold that. 4, 5. Now gradually release those, bringing your shoulders down, dropping them, and feel the tension leaving your body. And then after I do this one, I also like to shake out just because it can cause you to tense up a little bit, but you're aware of those muscles and what that feels like. I do this a lot when I'm driving in the car. Not necessarily that I'm stressed about driving, that's not it, but something throughout my day has stressed me out. And so my shoulders will go up. And so just relaxing those and being intentional and telling myself to relax my shoulders makes a big difference. The next one we're going to do, and this will probably be the last one, is we're going to do your stomach muscles. So go on and tighten those stomach muscles and hold it. 4, 5, and gradually release. You can kind of feel that tension leave in your body as you relax those stomach muscles. So this is hopefully a technique that you can utilize. You can do this while you're in the classroom. No one has to know. You can do it with your hands, with your feet, with your legs, with your arms, and with your jaws. The shoulders are a little more noticeable, but that's okay. You can do it anyway. Especially if it helps you to feel better, but giving you something that you can utilize in your day-to-day life that helps with not only your mental health, but your physical health as well. Thank you guys for letting me be a part of your morning this morning, and I look forward to our upcoming conversation. Rosalind, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Cersei. We appreciate that, and we'll practice what you've been telling us. And now we're going to turn this over to Dr. Jones, who's going to talk to us about the Kentucky Board of Education non-voting student member application. So, Dr. Jones, take it away.
Thank you, Rosalind. Good morning, everyone. My name is Glyptis Ann Grider-Jones, and I serve as the Director of Education Policy here at the department. And I am here to talk with you for a few minutes about a really unique opportunity in Kentucky for Kentucky public high school students to serve on the Kentucky Board of Education in a non-voting capacity. If you could go to the next slide, please. As I mentioned, this is an exciting and really unique opportunity for Kentucky the Kentucky Board of Education offers this student leadership opportunity and joins many other states across the country who have student representatives on their state Board of Education. So currently, the Kentucky Board of Education is accepting applications for the student non-voting member. You must be enrolled in a Kentucky public high school, be a sophomore at the time of your application so that you would be a junior for the time that you would serve on the board. It is a one-year term starting July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027. And we have with us as a member of this council, but also as a Kentucky Board of Education non-voting member, we do have Harper Blake on today's call. I do have a few notes and highlights here about what makes this opportunity really unique for student members, but I also think it's important to hear directly from our student board members. So I will invite Harper to say a few words about what her service has been like and maybe some words of encouragement for students who may be interested in this opportunity. Harper.
Hi, I would definitely encourage, I know there are a few sophomores on the advisory council, and I'm not sure if you guys would meet the qualifications for your congressional district, but I would definitely encourage you to apply to be a student non-voting member next year if you do meet the requirements. It's been a really great experience for me. I know going into it, I was pretty nervous, and I'm sure that some of you guys would be too, about speaking in front of such an intimidating audience because, you know, the Board of Education has a lot of very qualified and prestigious individuals on it. But I would just like to shout out the board members. I know Glyptosan is on here, and Commissioner Fletcher have made the experience very special for me, and they've been very welcoming and comforting, and I'm sure that they would provide that same experience to one of you guys if you did get selected next year. So it's helped me a lot of ways. I've gotten more comfortable public speaking. It's been a great experience, and if you'd like to reach out to me, or I know Preston Graham was last year's student non-voting member, so I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions too, but definitely reach out to me if you'd like to talk about it.
Thank you, Harper, for those kind words and also for sharing your perspective and voice during the state board meetings. I will also echo and highlight some opportunities that the student non-voting member would experience as part of that service year. Again, incredible insights into education policy here in the state, familiarity in learning related to state laws, policies, regulations as they relate to education in Kentucky, increased knowledge about education issues, both in Kentucky and our country, and the ability to make a difference, to share student voice and perspectives related to Kentucky's policies. And then lastly, the student member is paired up with a mentor member of the state board to help guide their experience for that 1 year of service. Could you go to the next slide, please? As Harper highlighted, there are some qualifications. This year's student student board member is the eligible student is from Kentucky's 2nd Congressional District. We have included here on the slide for your reference the counties that the 2nd Congressional District encompasses. So if you are eligible and interested, we certainly encourage your application. We also invite you to share this opportunity with students in your network who may be interested. Please note the deadline is February 27, so this Friday. And the next slide will point you to some additional requirements and links. Thanks, Miles. On the previous slide, I do want to mention we also have a parallel opportunity. Thanks, Miles. Parallel opportunity for our teacher non-voting member, and I have included on your slide deck the counties that would be eligible for the teacher representative in case you have a teacher who may be interested in this opportunity. Again, that would be the parallel opportunity for the teacher non-voting member. I will note that the opportunity to serve as a state board non-voting member, it rotates based on congressional district. So if your district is not yet eligible, this is a rotating process. So in the future, that would become eligible for the various congressional districts. Next slide, please. Included on your slide deck and meeting materials, I do have some links that will point you directly to additional information about the application, the Google form directly. And then I've also included the regulation that outlines the process for selection. If we can go to the next slide, please. And now I want to also mention an opportunity that all student advisory council members are eligible to participate in. And that is the opportunity to serve on what we call the Commissioner Student Advisory Council, or the CSAC Special Committee. This is a special committee to review those student member applications and using a provided rubric and resources. But then part of this committee, you would independently review applications, and the committee would then identify would identify 3 finalists to recommend to the State Board of Education for their consideration for who that student member would be. So I'll pause and turn it over to Commissioner Fletcher.
Just a quick, I was running through the list and through here, and Vivian, I think you would be eligible as in Elizabethtown, so Hardin County is there. But if you're not interested, I think Lillian, Muhlenberg would be eligible. In Davis County, Owensboro would be, Abigail would be someone in their district, and Daniel in Grayson County. So if I know many of you are not sophomores. I do know Vivian is a sophomore, or at least that's what the records I have is anyway. But if you have maybe a sophomore in your school that you think would be eligible, by all means, again, Muhlenberg, Elizabethtown, Hardin County, Owensboro, Davis County, and then also Grayson. So out of the group that's on this call, those are the schools that would be invited. So again, if you know a sophomore that may be interested and you'd like to tap them on the shoulder and just let them know, we greatly appreciate it for our next non-voting student member as part of KBE. And again, I know that Blake and Preston both would be happy to talk about their experience if you have any questions. I'll back over to you, Glypsin.
Thank you. Thanks, Commissioner. Thanks for identifying those counties. Again, if you do have questions, my contact information is there on the slide deck. I will note that Ms. Rosalind Turner will be sharing out after today's meeting. If you are interested in serving on that special committee to review applications and then identify finalists for that student non-voting member, Rosalind will have those details and additional information as part of an exit slip. And then I will follow up with those special committee members about the process and the rubric to identify and recommend finalist applications. My contact information is included here with any questions. And as Dr. Fletcher mentioned, Harper and Preston, I think, would be available also if you have any questions. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. We appreciate it. And we will now go to turn the meeting over to Karen Dodd, who is going to continue with our transition to post-secondary program that we have been working on. And Karen, I'll let you take over.
Thank you, Rosalind. Good morning, students. We are here to talk about the project that you all that you have been working on. So I'm joined today by Sharon Collins, who is with KDE, as well as Dr. Michelle Searcy, who you just heard from. We've also invited in some of our colleagues from the Council on Post-Secondary Education. So Mitzi Holland, Jessica Fletcher, and Trey Pippin are all here with us today. And they're going to help to facilitate some of our breakouts that we're going to go into in just a moment here. Miles, you can go to the next slide. So we're going to be focusing in on the individual learning plan, or the ILP. That was what you all said that you wanted to focus on, post-secondary readiness for students. And we suggested that the ILP would be a great area to really promote. And so we asked you to look at some resources, and you all enthusiastically agreed to do that between the last meeting and this meeting. That has been captured, and we have shared that with the other facilitators for today, who are the experts on those resources. We are going to be going into breakout groups in just a moment, where you'll be paired with other students who have reviewed the same resource or resources as you. And then we will have the facilitators from KDE and CPE in there to help guide your conversations. This is going to help us really shape the project, which will be presented to the commissioner in April. So I'll say more about that after we get through the breakout groups. You can go to the next slide. I think I pretty much already talked about all of this. This is just how we got to where we are. Thank you. So we have one other resource that we want you guys to know about. And so I'm going to invite Mitzi Holland to jump on here and talk about the post-secondary advising scope and sequence draft. Mitzi?
Thank you, Karen. If it's okay, I'm going to share my screen so that I can pull up these resources and walk you all through them. And I want to say, first of all, thank you to the students serving on this council for taking such an interest in this and reviewing and providing feedback for these resources. It was certainly appreciated. And we would have loved to have had your feedback already on this particular resource, but it is something that we are working on currently. And it is really a more digestible piece that has derived from feedback that we received on the advising framework that you all provided feedback on. So with that being said, the post-secondary advising scope and sequence is designed to help those serving as advisors, whether that be counselors or teachers, guide students on their college and career journey. And it is designed to be for grades 6 through 12, with middle school being more about exploring and preparing and then applying what you've learned toward your high school plan, and high school being more about making decisions. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But as you progress through the advising scope and sequence, you are focusing on 4 categories: career exploration, post-secondary opportunities, financial aid and financial literacy, and essential skills. And again, this is 6 through 12, and it is aligned with the ILP and utilizes the Futurity College and Career Exploration platform to complete many of these activities. As this is being implemented in schools, educators can approach it in multiple ways. They can use what is called a monthly advising focus, which is more of a thematic focus, in that in September, all grades would be focusing on career interests and surveys, personality traits, etc. And you can see there that each month has a theme. Dollars and cents December would be financial aid, literacy, etc. As students are working through, or practitioners are supporting students working through this, they would have access to lesson plans, one lesson plan for each grade level in each of those 4 categories. And each lesson plan has outcomes and guiding questions and milestones, just like a typical lesson plan that any educator would use. The thing about these lesson plans is that it's all focused around those advising outcomes and milestones, where you're learning about career clusters, you're learning about interests that relates to those career clusters, and then careers and opportunities. And it all aligns and builds from 6th grade to 7th grade and all the way through 12th grade. If you weren't interested in the thematic approach, there is the grade level approach, and again, objectives, learning experiences, and then evidence of learning. And this is where it's tied to the ILP. So if a student is learning about career clusters and career interests, then they would update their ILP to reflect that. And again, connected to those lesson plans. We also have an appendix section that talks about ways that this could look school-wide, the way that it could look from an administrator's lens, a counselor's lens, and a teacher's lens. And then also additional resources that point to other tools, because Kentucky is very blessed to have a lot of good resources to support advising and college and paying for college and the like. So the high school piece to that, we are currently still working on, but follows the same, principles. In 9th grade and 10th grade, it's more about investigating and connecting. So investigating ways that you can design your high school experience to align with careers that you're interested in. And then in 10th grade, you're continuing that connection. When you get to 11th grade, it's more about applying what you have learned from your exploration to make decisions about the next steps. And then in 12th grade, you're taking that even more deeper, and you're making concrete action steps that move you in the direction that you need, whether that is, a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, the military, etc. But you feel better prepared. There's also things built around completing the FAFSA, applying for scholarships, making sure that you have completed the admission process for college, and whatever path you choose, you would be very supported in making those decisions. And again, the 9th grade piece is being finalized as we speak. I want to show you this document. This is something that I think could be very beneficial, especially to the students. This is what we are referring to as a potential collection template for all of the things that you're doing throughout those lesson plans, throughout that scope and sequence. And this is basically an Excel document that would give you an opportunity to plan your high school course of study. And it gives you an opportunity to identify dual credit, AP, IB courses. It gives you an opportunity to track your credits so that you can make sure that you are meeting all of your graduation requirements. Gives you an opportunity to keep track of career exploration activities that you are completing from grade 6 through 12. And they're broken down by theme. And this is something that could be easily edited for schools if they have additional activities that they want to add. But it's very beneficial for students, in my opinion, because they have a document here that keeps track of everything, so that when they go to complete resumes or college applications, they're going to have everything in one spot. An opportunity to keep track of early post-secondary opportunities, dual credit, industry certifications, etc. Clubs and organizations with an opportunity to identify transferable skills that are gained. Special recognition, offices held. And again, this is all 6th through 12th grade and aligned to those ILP milestones. A place to keep track of community service. And one thing I failed to mention is that in each of these tabs, there's also a space to upload related documents to support whatever you are doing. So if you have a community service that you need to enter, and then you have maybe a signed sheet from a supervisor, you could upload that signed sheet, just as a reference. There's also a place for work experience, and we all know how beneficial this could be when it comes to completing resumes and things like that. And then finally, my network or my social capital. And this is probably one of my favorite pieces of this whole document, because it gives students an opportunity to keep track of their network. And as you start, maybe in 6th, 7th grade, maybe your network is friends and family and teachers. But as you grow and move through your middle school and high school career, that network should grow, and you could potentially have future employers listed. and, college admissions counselors and anyone that could help you along your journey. So this is just, a template, and it is still being worked on. It's still in what we would call the draft stage. And this is something that we certainly are interested in getting student feedback on. So I will stop sharing my screen, and I know that was a lot of information and a very quick overview, but I know you all have a lot of things to discuss, and I don't want to take too much time, but I will ask if you all have any questions for me.
Let's see, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. When I was looking at the template, it really made me think about students that could possibly be looking at applying for like Governor Scholars Program. That's such a great way to capture everything that you would need for the Governor Scholar application. So there's so many different uses for that template. You guys have really done a wonderful job.
Thank you. And I agree, Michelle, that there are so many uses. And the beauty of it is that it can be modified to meet, individual school needs if they want to add or take away. And we were sharing this with our advising community of practice the other day. And someone from the post-secondary side said, can students just bring this to college with them? Because it truly could be a living document that follows and supports students in their college and career journey.
I'll make a
Thank you.
quick comment. I put in the chat there, Ms. Holland, that, I love the idea of the social network capital spreadsheet. If you're a student and you have people that you can talk to, but also too, it keeps you in mind of maybe there's an internship opportunity that comes up that you made a connection with someone that you could get advice from, or maybe even an opportunity for an internship or job shadowing or things of that nature. Having that social capital network, that would have been a valuable tool for me as a student in high school to have, to say, wow, this is an opportunity that maybe I can keep that in my toolbox, if you will, of maybe an opportunity I'd have moving forward. Not to mention resume, not to mention references as part of a resume too. So again, really love that idea.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Dr. Fletcher. I was going to say the same thing. Absolutely love that. Something I tell my kids now. They're in their early 20s, and I'm always telling them, we used to switch business cards, right? I don't know if people even still do that anymore. I have a whole stack of them that I never seem to give out anymore. But having a place to store all of that is really important. I hope everybody recognizes how important that is. Okay, we're going to move forward. We're getting ready to go into our breakouts. Miles, can you go ahead and share? Okay, thank you. So we're going to go into our breakout rooms. The third bullet on here, I have that you're going to discuss what you just saw. So let's just go ahead and move that up as the first thing that you do when you get out of your breakout or into your breakout groups. Any questions, any thoughts you have around that resource, go ahead and share it with your group. Then you're going to go into the resources that you actually reviewed between the last meeting and this meeting. And as I said in the beginning, you're going to have a facilitator in there from KDE and or CPE who will help guide that. They've already looked at all the feedback, and so they'll be able to share high level what they see as far as the feedback, but feel free to add on there if you didn't get a chance to put your feedback in or didn't even get a chance to look at any of those resources. That overview that your facilitator will give you an opportunity to provide feedback at that time. And then you're going to select one person to be your spokesperson when we come back. Can you go, actually, skip the next slide for just a moment, Miles, and go to the next one. So when we come back, here's what the spokesperson will be sharing out. What resource did you review? Who is it intended for? What were the feedbacks from your group and any new ideas or highlights that came up from your group. All right, so just to be aware of that, that's what you'll be sharing when you come back. Go on back now to the breakout slide. Thank you. So these are the groups that we're going to go into, and it's based on what you were assigned to review. And again, if you didn't have a chance to review it, don't worry about it. You can add your comments now.
Before we get started on reviewing some of these resources and especially the one that Mitzi just showed, I want to give you guys an opportunity to see who would like to be our student speaker who will give an overview of what we've talked about. That way we can identify you in the beginning and you can make sure you take notes. So any of our students left still in the room who would like to be our breakout speaker?
I'll be the speaker.
Thank you so much. I was waiting. I was like, well, I guess I can form the question another way. Thank you for volunteering. All right, Mitzi, do you want to start off with the resource that we just saw?
Sure. Would it be helpful if I share my screen again so that you all can see what you're providing some feedback on?
I see some heads shaking yes.
Okay, perfect. I will go ahead and move back. Which piece is most helpful for you all to see? The middle school piece, the high school piece, or the ILP collection template? Somebody can just come off mute, shout it out. It doesn't matter to me. Or I can share all of them and we can like just talk through them and then pull up. Does anyone have a preference? Dr. Searcy, do you have a preference?
Let's go on and just start from the beginning. I think this is such a great tool, and they've already had some opportunity to review the other resources, but this
Okay.
is new.
Okay. And I do want to preface that all of these resources, with the exception of the ILP tool, is designed, even the resources that you all reviewed are designed to be more teacher facing than student facing, which means that they're designed to help the teachers have the information they need to support you all in a meaningful post-secondary journey and a meaningful experience as you're making decisions about college and career and hopefully completing an easier way for you all to collect ILP data. So with that being said, Dr. Searcy, do you want to start off with comments, or how do you want to proceed?
Yeah, let's go on and start off with comments just in general overall. When you all are thinking about your current ILP experience that you have in your schools, how do you see this document or these resources with the possibility of improving that experience, and which one really sticks out to you as being something as a student you would really appreciate going through? And since this is a small group, y'all can just come off chat and we'll just have a dialogue versus the chat.
In general, even though this is kind of like a beta version right now, I see this as a huge improvement to any of the ILP resources we currently have. I mean, I remember thinking back to middle school ILP, where it was pretty much just taking like a personality test, and that would tell you like, oh, you would be good for this career or this career. But I see that and I compare that to that ILP collection sheet with the networking resources, with all the classes you could take. First, that's just a huge improvement for first steps. Quick question. What resources, since I was talking about middle school and the opportunities for ILP in middle school, can you clarify like which of these resources would be like strength or like sent out to those in middle school, and is it like diffused over time, like gradually as you go through grade levels, which of these resources become available?
So I think to answer your question, I need to give you a little bit more background information. So the scope and sequence document is really to guide teachers in preparing students for meaningful or to support students in having meaningful experiences. The document that is 100% student facing that you would own as a student is that collection document. So that would be yours. That would be, you know, something that you would add to over time. To your point about gradual, it is a buildable document in that grade 6 is very, you know, introductory. And then grade 7, it's a little bit more. And then all the way up through grade 12. So for example, I'm going to use career explorations. In grade 6, the goal is that you would learn about the career clusters. And then in 7th grade, you would learn about how those career clusters are related to things that you're interested in. And then some possible jobs that could result from those interests. Then in 8th grade, you learn about pathways and opportunities that you might have in high school to build and earn an industry certification or complete, you know, any type of credential or, you know, complete a pathway that would support your post-secondary career plans. We know that people change their minds and that this is not something that you're locked into, but it's rather an opportunity for students to explore what's out there. Think about careers that maybe they've never thought about, because we oftentimes we gravitate to what we know, what our parents did, what our grandparents did, what friends are doing. And this is hopefully designed so that you would have an opportunity to have more exposure throughout your high school, or excuse me, middle school and high school career, not only in career exploration, but in post-secondary opportunities. So you're learning about the dual credit opportunities that are available. You're learning about ways that you can pay for college. Right now, Kentucky is doing a fabulous job in providing opportunities for students to go to college at little or no cost. So it's really understanding very early that you can go to college, that you have the ability to be there as much as anybody else, and that there are ways to support the cost of that. And then to your point about the networking and the social capital, we all know how important it is to make connections. And this is just a way to keep track of those connections. So that when you are completing those things in your senior year, or even earlier, if you're applying for a job, or to Dr. Searcy's point, if you're looking to be, you know, in some of these more prestigious programs, Governor Scholars and different things like that, you would have information that you need. Did I answer your question, Preston, or did I just ramble?
It's all good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else have a question?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. When you talked about how people like can change their mind a lot, that made me think about how much of a good thing it is to have all these opportunities to change your mind in middle and high school, because changing majors in college is a lot more common than it should be, because in college, you know, you're paying tuition, and then when you change your majors, you have to take all these extra classes, and like your previous classes become invalid and all that stuff. So if you can just get through that phase in middle and high school, so then by the time you reach college, you actually know exactly what you want to do, you would save a lot of money and it would just be a lot easier on you.
That's a very good point. Thank you for that.
Any other comments about the resource, or questions or wonderings that you may have? We really want to make sure that we hear from our students, especially since, as Mitzi mentioned, this is still in the draft phase. So we want to make sure that we're getting student voice on it and making so that we can make any changes. Mitzi, I'm glad you pulled this one back up, because I think this is what's really interesting for students. So as Mitzi was reviewing the individual learning plan document, and you can see down there the My Graduation Course Plan. Can we go there first?
Yes.
Do you all feel like this would be helpful, especially in tracking your courses for graduation, especially since we know that we have graduation requirements that are tied to the ILP? So you have the opportunity to customize some of those graduation requirements to fit the needs or interests that you have for post-secondary planning. Any thoughts on this from our student advisory group?
Yes, I think that having the spreadsheet, having it planned out can help students really realize how many credits they need and help them plan and kind of ease that post-secondary plan anxiety that students have about picking their pathway and their career in high school and only in college too.
Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Yeah, kind of to take off of what she said, I think it's great, not from just like a college prep standpoint, but also from like an organizational standpoint as well. Because I know personally with all of other requirements in my school, it can be kind of hard to keep track and kind of like diversify the classes based on my interests. So I feel like this is perfect for kids that may have gone through the same thing that I did with trying to meet all of other school requirements while also trying to have a little bit of freedom in the interests-based classes.
Thank you. Mitzi, I'm wondering, not that any of our students here would have this, but I'm just kind of wondering, let's say we had students take English 1, A and B,
Mhm.
and so they would need to put which one it was, part A or part B.
Mhm.
And then let's say they failed one time. Would
Mhm.
they be, is this where the schools or students can add to that?
Yes, so I mean, you can just insert a row if you needed to add something. Or, I guess in theory, if you repeated it, then you could take off the failed course and just leave the one that counted. Of course, your GPA would still be affected and, but to your point, this is where that customization comes into play. In theory, if a school wanted to go ahead, if there were certain classes that every student took, they could go ahead and pre-populate this spreadsheet with those classes for the student. If there were specific, requirements that school had, when you get into some of these things, you could easily customize, even with things like the career exploration and financial literacy activities. If you know that every sixth grader has an opportunity to do X, Y, and Z, you could go ahead and make sure that those activities are listed, because these activities were created based on feedback from various groups of folks, from, the framework feedback groups that we had, way back, and other folks that have looked at this. But we all know that this is not an all-encompassing list. So there's other activities out there that are happening in schools and districts that may need to be added. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I do have a question that I'd like to get feedback from these students specifically on. We talked about when it comes to tracking post-secondary opportunities, and again, this is still in draft stage, so we've not added, the industry cert piece and the EOPs and some of that stuff. Would it be helpful to have the category, like Gen Ed category that you could choose from, so that if you were taking like, an intro to psychology class, for example, and you list the institution that comes from, would it be helpful to also know that that meets the social and behavioral sciences Gen Ed requirement? Or is that not necessary?
You mean on the college side?
Yes, on the college side. Like, so that they would know that if they have met that Gen Ed requirement, that they don't necessarily need to take another course from that Gen Ed, that they could focus on, a science or a history or something, if they're trying to, meet Gen Ed by taking dual credit.
I think that would really help students not only plan cost-wise how many classes they need to take, but also help plan time-wise their graduation tracking and help students know, okay, this is how many credits I need and this is how many I have so far.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking it might be helpful, but I just wanted to hear what you all thought.
Any other thoughts on that? Let's see, would that change by institution?
That's the thing that it may have to just be open-ended, like list which gen ed category that that's something I'm trying to find out more information on, is the core, the gen ed could be different at different colleges, I'm assuming. So it may just need to be like another blank space here where students could fill out like instructions, like go to your university's page and identify which gen ed category this fits under.
I imagine like some classes may also change by major.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you guys do decide to add on to that, I think there would have to be a lot more specifics into it, like what institution, what major, especially if you're thinking about 2 to 3 majors, like which one that class would help with.
That's a good point. And it may be better to leave it as is, but I just think there could be some value in having a little more space. And maybe it could be as simple as just another, like notes, to your point, where you identify this meets a requirement for this major.
Let's say I'm
And leave it.
wondering if what might be helpful here is even having a very short video that you can link in and students can click on it and it shows them how to find this information at their institution. So it says, if you want to check if this meets a general ed requirement at your institution, here's how to find that out. And then it walks students through that process. And then that's a little notes section where they can go in and then write their note, this fits this requirement at my post-secondary institution.
I love that idea. And I was going to show you if I can. I may not can find a place where it's at. There are a few places right here. Like here's an example where there's like a heads up. So it's just like a little note. So toward the end of school, you're going to be doing things to make sure you're transition ready. So, we could have like a heads up with a link to a video.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. That way students just know how to find it, because that can be hard on some, in some institutions, it's easier than others. But at least if they can kind of see what that process looks like, they might be able to find it.
Very good point.
Are there any other
We're
parts?
getting a little short on time, so we're going to need to move on to the other resources as well.
Karen, quick question. This is phenomenal. I am blown away with this template. What about ASVAB? Did I miss that part? I saw ACT, AP. I don't think I saw ASVAB.
You didn't, Dr.
Okay.
Tucker, and that's something that needs to be added. So thank you for mentioning that.
Okay, with the, we're a very patriotic state, and so
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll have that. Thank you, ma'am.
I added a note for that.
And
That's why-
Cambridge too. IB in Cambridge, you may already have that, but I would make
Yes,
sure
I
that's included.
I think, AP or IB,
Yep,
but
there you
I
go.
may, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. That's why the feedback from these groups is so important, because you do miss things. So appreciate that.
Yep.
All right, let's go on and transition. Mitzi, can you pull up the feedback document?
I sure can.
All right, so this first one is the Kentucky Post-Secondary Advising Framework that you all looked at and gave us some feedback on. You guys had some great feedback, very detailed, amazing feedback. And I meet with Mitzi on a regular basis as we look at these tools and make adjustments. And this is definitely something that we're going to be utilizing moving forward as we come close to CPEs worked so hard on this to come close to finalizing some of these documents. Mitzi, is there anything on the post advising framework feedback that you saw that you want to kind of have more of a discussion on?
One thing that really just stands out to me, and it's really very valid. I see comments like it needs to be simpler explanation, and that sort of thing. And that's why the scope and sequence was created or is being created, because we know that that framework in itself was 21 pages and it was very practitioner focused. It's not student and family friendly, but it was not designed to be. It was designed to be used by teachers to support students and families. So I think there probably in that framework needs to be a stronger connection. I see like, like checklists or simpler or things for first generation. So I think probably in that framework, maybe there needs to be some attention given to linking to those family-friendly resources that are available through Futurity, through Kentucky Higher Education Assistance Authority, through KDE, through the Post-Secondary Advising Toolkit that are designed to support students and families in a more, student-centered, family-centered way. So you all left valuable feedback. Love it.
Yeah, there's like gold nuggets all through this.
Yes.
Want to give students an opportunity to kind of weigh in things that you didn't get to say or that you did say that you wanted to kind of highlight for the good of the group. Okay, let's go on and move to Futurity. I'm just curious, have any of you all used Futurity in your current high school setting?
They put that on our ILP documents all the time. So yeah, we use that on a lot of them.
Excellent. What has your experience with Futurity been?
I think the idea of it and everything that it has been good, but everyone gets really confused on how to navigate the website. So I think if there were more, this might just be a thing with my school, but just adding more instructions on which part of the website to go to, because people have been confused with the layout.
Delaney, I want to just say something to that. There's been several people that have said the same thing, and they are working on making that a little bit more easily navigatable and user-friendly. So look for some changes in the coming weeks. The information is there, but to your point, it's not always easy to find it very quickly. So they are working to make that easier for the user.
Betsy, I'm all about videos. I wonder if even an introductory video to Futurity that walks students and families through how to use it might be helpful. It can be super short, but just a high level overview. I think that sometimes those videos do more than written instructions. And students, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you think a video would be helpful to show you how to navigate Futurity, or how you would like to see that kind of materialize into making it a little more user friendly.
I think a video would be very useful. I mean, a lot of people out there are visual learners, so I think any kind of user interface that would just show off all of the features and give a step-by-step guide on here you click this to go here and all of the benefits. I know it's all out there on the website already, those step-by-step guides, but I think just having it all summarized in a video would expedite that process a little.
Thank you. I kind of feel the same, especially with this generation. I think videos really can speak a lot to the user experience, and would love to even see a student lead that video. That would be super awesome. And we have some great students on here, Mitzi.
I was thinking the same thing, that if we did a video, that it would be so much better if it was done by a student. Absolutely.
Anything else about Futurity that kind of stood out and spoke to you guys outside of the usability or user friendliness?
I just were I just have more I wish some of them were more like blatant what it's able for yeah.
I am so sorry. You are cutting out really bad and we can't understand what you're saying.
Abby, can you maybe type your question in the chat, please?
Sorry about that, Abby. Your connection seems to be a little weak. While Abby's typing that, is there any other thoughts and comments on Futurity? I'm reading I've already read these, but as I'm reading through these again, Mitzi, it seems like a lot of them are coming back to that step-by-step guide.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to take us to the next one and lead us in a conversation?
Yes, this next one is the I skipped over the middle school because we only have 3 minutes left, and I know Sharon's leading that, but the post-secondary advising milestones and then those outcomes, which those are really subsets of that whole framework document. So the milestones and activity is one part, and then the outcomes is another part of that entire framework that you all provided feedback on. And I will say that this outcomes document is what the scope and sequence utilizes. So it might be kind of important to look at this outcomes document first, if that's okay. Again, I see some of the same types of feedback. I see someone said that it is very brief. And that is because it is designed to be a good starting point. One outcome instead of a bunch of outcomes. We know this doesn't necessarily hit all the things that are needed, but it's one outcome as a starting point that's kind of a summary outcome, if you will, of all the milestones that could be identified as being important for post-secondary readiness. So I guess, do you all have any comments, questions that you want to dive a little bit deeper into these resources? And just the milestones document, if you can remember, is the document that has like a lot of different milestones and a lot of activities for each grade level, for each category. So I think it was like 21 pages by itself. So it was, a lot of information.
Betsy, I also want to point out Abby was able to type her comment in the chat, and she said she was going to say that she likes the amount of options for people using the site, but she wishes there were more options for people not directly following certain CTE pathways, maybe out-of-state funding, etc.
That's a good point, Abby. And I think that obviously Futurity is utilizing Kentucky specific data. So it does point to Kentucky information first, but I know there has been some discussion about some of those other things like the out-of-state opportunities. And, every time you build something, you always learn about ways that it can be improved. And so that's why we're doing all these types of things. And I know that there's discussion about ways to make it include all the things and have more information. And to your point about the certain CTE pathways, I think that's always something that we need to be mindful of. that every school can't offer a career and technical pathway that meets the need of every student. So making sure that we support learners that are not particularly interested in a career and technical pathway, making sure that we're supporting them with their, rigorous academic needs. So thank you for that feedback. I'll certainly share it with the Futurity folks.
All right, we're going to have everybody joining us back here in just a moment. So we'll go ahead and end our conversation there.
I just want to thank the students, as you're pulling back, I want to thank the students for being so
Sophie.
invested and giving us great feedback and allowing us to hear your voice and your perspective. It's invaluable.
Absolutely, it is.
All right, I see we've got 30 back in the room. I think we were a little higher than that, so just may have one more room still joining. Or is that everybody, Beth?
I believe it looks like that is everybody. I'm not
Okay.
showing anybody still in their room.
Fantastic. Okay, then our next step, Miles, let's go ahead and bring up the slides for the share out. And we'll move over to our spokespeople from each room to start sharing out. And we'll start with room 1. I know that we had Harper taking notes in our room. So Harper, do you mind sharing out?
Yeah, so we started with the scope and sequence maps for teachers and students. And we thought that it was a great improvement in comparison to our personal experiences and that it had a lot of resources. There were also, I know there was more than one person that commented on its ability to provide some flexibility in pathways and how that would be beneficial if a student wanted to switch things up in high school, and how much better that is than switching things up in college. And then we also did an ILP collection document spreadsheet for scheduling. We thought that it helps students better organize and understand classes for graduation requirements while also taking classes customized to their preferences. So we were big fans of that one as well. And then the last one that we did was we reviewed the feedback from the Futurity, and there were a couple of issues with that one. First of all, a lot of people said it was hard to navigate, and we talked quite a bit about how a video might be beneficial in helping students kind of get started in navigating it and figuring out where to go. And we also said that while there were plenty of options for CTE pathways, it didn't really expand on all of the post-secondary issues that a student might have. And one example of that was out-of-state funding that a student gave. So those were our 3.
Thank you, Harper. All right, room 2. Who was our spokesperson for room 2?
So our main resource was Futurity, and we did a live demo as a student or someone else using it would have done it. And we went through the career quizzes, we went through navigating it. And one thing we did say about it was that we would like a comparison between in-state pathways and then also out-of-state things, because Futurity, it's really good for focusing on Kentucky's opportunities. It's really has like a varied approach to it, but there's not really many things for students who would like to go outside of Kentucky for either college or their careers. So we talked about how having a comparison between occupations in different states versus Kentucky might be beneficial. And then we also discussed how it's a really good tool because it's like a one-stop shop. Everything a student might need is all in there. It's like your career finder, your college finder, but then like having the ability to save information on there might be beneficial as well, because it takes you to a lot of different sites and stuff within the website, but having like a collection site within it might be beneficial. But I know there were some issues with that because of data collection laws. So that might be a work in progress.
Okay, thank you very much. And you were representing room 2, correct? All right, room 3 is our final spokesperson.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Hadley. We really liked the resources. We thought that they would be great for students, for planning their careers and futures. We did have a few suggestions though. We thought that there should be designated time in school for using these resources, because we felt that sometimes they might not be able to implement them at home, and using them at school would help have guidance from the teachers. So we thought that a good time to do that would be during like advisory or freshman seminar sort of classes. Additionally, since we thought these resources were really good, but we thought there should be more awareness about them, because we all thought they seemed like good resources, but we hadn't really heard of them before or seen them pushed out to teachers at all. So we thought more awareness about the resources would be helpful. Additionally, we said we thought it should be more intentional in middle school with the pathways that are offered and like the options that are available in high school, and kind of like making sure that there's like it's not just in middle school and then like your senior year, but it like continues throughout your educational journey. And then we also mentioned maybe like resources for parents or events to help parents to become aware about these resources, and like how to implement them could be helpful to like increase the effectiveness of the resources.
Thank you very much, Hadley. All right, I'm going to pause there to see if anyone has anything else they want to share out, anything that you heard from one of the other rooms that maybe sparked a comment or a question. All right, I'm not seeing anything. So we'll go on to the next slide. And Hadley, you played right into where we are going with this. So we want to talk a little bit about the project, and we have something to pitch to you. And it's along the lines of that awareness. So you guys are welcome to give feedback on this and let us know if this is something that you are interested in doing. But we were thinking, and Miles is on here. Miles, if you want to jump in, because I may need your help in helping to pitch this. But we're thinking about a campaign for the ILP, or maybe it's around some of these other resources. What we were thinking of is having this student advisory come up with a video that would have other students would watch your video, which would explain that we want to do a campaign around the individual learning plan. So yours would basically be instructions for what would be included, what they would need to do, how they would get it turned in, things like that. And then that would launch other students in all the districts submitting something. So this would entail, Miles, what am I missing? Because I was going to get into the 2 meetings and how this would kind of play out. But do you want to say something before I do that?
Sure. And the communications director, Jennifer Ginn's on here as well. So if I miss something, please jump in, Jen. But this would be a showcase, for students, by students. I'm 22 years outside of high school, and I wish I knew what an individual learning plan was. So in the marketing world, having something built by students, that way you're constantly engaged, talking about it, and you're spreading with your friends. And then when you're finished with that project, it'll be on Showcase, and it would be shared on our social media platforms to all of our followers, and we could post it on our website. It's really, it's more or less a competition to showcase the talents of the students on how you can take a minute and really explain something that's so beneficial in your all's world. So more to come. There's going to be some, rules and regulations that we will jump in that I know Karen will kind of lay out, but super excited. In my world here in communications, we just did a campaign on chronic absenteeism, and it was viewed 42 million times. And so now we're in the process of taking that campaign, and it's being built out as a competition. We've had 40 districts sign up for it. Hopefully some of your all's districts were one of those, that they're going to take and build their own commercial on the chronic absenteeism, and it's turned into an STLP competition. So we're kind of piggybacking off that, and it's going to be student led, and really excited. So there will be a lot of benefits from it. Not only is the messaging going to be there, and how students explain the messaging on why LPs are important, but also it's going to be a chance to have on our platforms to showcase throughout Kentucky and all of our audience members. Did I cover everything, Karen? Sorry.
Yes, thank you. No, thank you.
I talk really fast, so if I need to.
That's okay. You did a much better job than I did, so I appreciate it. So looking for some reaction or some comments. You can either throw a reaction up on the screen, you can put something in the chat, but what do you think of this idea as your project? And if you have questions, just let me know. Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up, some hearts there. Awesome. Yay. Okay, let's go to the next slide then. So since this is your last meeting before April, when it has to be pitched to the commissioner, we would need to do some meetings in between now and then. So we are proposing, and these dates could possibly be changed, but as of right now, this is what we're looking at. A virtual meeting, and not everybody has to be in this. If you have done anything with these resources that we've already talked about, then you are already a part of this project. But meeting one would be a virtual meeting where we would talk about the requirements of what this showcase would look like, and really just kind of bringing everything together. Miles will mostly be leading this to get everything that is needed from all of you to pull this project together. And then we would have a separate meeting, which would be in person here in Frankfort, to actually film your video that explains the showcase to other students. Miles, clean up anything that needs to be cleaned up with what I just said.
No, you did it. It kind of be more of like an example video too, as well. And so we'll kind of have, we can showcase some examples of kind of like the work we've done with chronic absenteeism, kind of show that stuff and in video styles, and then kind of go over rules and regulations, because it's going to have to go on your YouTube page, and with copyright infringement, and there's a lot of small things that you just can't put your radio station's most top hit single with it. If not, it'll get kicked off YouTube real quick, and then we won't be able to use it. So you've covered just enough, and we'll go over more details at the next meeting.
Great, thank you. So Jennifer has put in the chat a sign up link. Again, you can sign up for one meeting, both meetings. If you're interested in just the planning piece of it, that's that virtual meeting. If you would like to come to Frankfort and be a part of the filming of the instructional video, we would love to have you here as well. Do note that will be here in Frankfort, and we are not able to provide travel reimbursements and no overnight stays or anything like that for this particular one. So I think that's it. So, and if you're not sure yet if you can make those dates, just email Rosalind. You should all have her email, I believe, since she coordinates all of this. We'll send something out in the follow-up. We'll include this link to the follow-up in the follow-up so that you can go in once you know. But let her know, just give her a heads up if you're still considering, if your availability or things like that. But if you know you want to be a part of this and you're ready to sign up, please go ahead and use that link and do so. I think that's all. Miles, is there another slide? How do we let you know which one we want to go to on the Google form? That's a good question. I haven't gone in here. I'm sorry, I didn't put this together. Let me just check it really quick. Okay, you're right. It doesn't say. So just let us know that you're interested in that form. We'll send something else out to collect that information from you, or you can just let Rosalind know. Sorry about that. I thought we had more in there than that.
But Karen, how many students, would you prefer? Were you as many as
want to be a part of this? Yeah. I don't think we set a limit or anything. Now, I don't know what's going to be better for your video, for the video piece of it, Miles. So if there needs to be a cutoff, you need to let us know that. Okay. All right. I think, was this my last slide? Yes, it is. So back to Rosalind.
We will get back, and I noticed that I neglected to get approval of the minutes at the beginning of the meeting. So I sent you all the link in your email earlier. So I just need to get a motion to approve the summary from the last meeting. Do I have a motion? Would someone make a motion to approve the summary from the,
To approve the summary.
and I'm sorry, who was that?
Sophie Johnston.
Thank you, Sophie. And can I get a second, please?
A second.
Okay, and who was that? Who seconded?
Let Abby have it.
Oh, okay, Abby. I did.
Okay, Abby. All right. Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be on April the 28th, and we will be in person. I said our next meeting, that is unless you attend one of the special meetings, but our full council meeting, our next meeting will be April 28th, and it will be from 9 to 11. And unless someone has something else, Commissioner, do you have anything else that you need to share?
I'm just excited about to see student input. I always enjoy this time. It's great to see folks, even virtually, but I'm looking forward to our April 28th meeting to see the presentation as we move forward. So again, for those of you that are able to be a part of this, thank you so much. And if we look forward to seeing you more in town, but definitely on the April 28th meeting, look forward to seeing everyone there.
Thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you in April, if not before. Be safe.